What's going on,
What's
man?
cracking,
How you
man?
doing? We got
Good to meet you, bro.
We got Gipp in the building, y'all. Let me turn my camera. Damn. Once again, man.
Hey, look, I don't need to be on the internet, bro.
I like that.
Just bust up
Ain't going down. We gonna do it both.
Hey,
Okay.
man, he wasn't no intro or nothing. He just came and sat on down, man. I ain't mad at you, brother. I appreciate it.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, man. How you feeling, man?
I'm good, King. How you doing?
Oh, I'm alright, man. I'm alright. So I ain't gonna lie to you. I had to research and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? And I went on a trip down memory lane on this Spotify. Just threw on Goodie Mob and just let that motherfucker run, dog. Y'all had some staples in St. Louis. I don't know if you knew how big y'all was in St. Louis, but we loved y'all shit. Like skating rinks.
Niggas was skating. They shit skate king on their ass.
Listen, dog, y'all had it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to salute you for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all got some classic music, and it's a lot of stuff that now that I live in Atlanta, I didn't realize what y'all was saying, but I realize it now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when y'all was what was that? You said something about bankhead fish, bankhead seafood.
Yeah, seafood. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know about that in 95. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now that's the shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, let's go ahead and get into it.
What you get
man.
into this weekend, man?
What did I get into this weekend? I had a lot of things going on this weekend. Sit down with my daughter, fuck with her for a little while. You know what I mean? Man, mostly I just been working on the line, man. I've been working on the cannabis line. So I've been out in California. I've been out in California, and I've really just been putting the cannabis line together, working on new music with Daz. We dropped a new single called Yo Nigga, and you know that's self-explanatory. We don't want to be your boyfriend. I never did, never will. Okay,
Just want to be a
dry
nigga.
Cadillac. I mean, that's what it is. So I mean, with that, I mean, with music and per so Goodie Mom been back out on the. We back out touring now, all four of us.
That's what's up.
We did a dope show in Miami like about a week ago, man. 2 weeks ago, we was in Miami, man. We brought out Trick Dad and we brought out JT Money, man. And
JT Money.
Man, CeeLo them that they did Draw in the Wind live, and then JT did Action Live from Poison Clan's classic album. So you know, for me, man, I've been riding high for a minute now, man.
That's what's up.
I feel great, man. I
That's
feel
what's up,
good.
man.
I just renewed because you know what? I don't have to do music to live no more.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean, and that's not to say that's a blessing. You know what I mean, because it's like a lot of rappers from my era can't say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They can't say that they can still go to the mailbox and still get money off music they did 20, 25 years ago. And you know, with that, I just praise, you know, I'm just glad that we did the music we did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm glad that even 20 years later, the things that we say is still relevant today. So, you know, that's the greatest thing about being an artist, man, is when people recognize you for what you did, and it's looked at as being timeless, not just something that was, you know, microwave.
Yeah. What's your favorite? What was your favorite project that you know what I'm saying the mob worked on, bro? Goodie Mob, your favorite?
I mean, I guess the favorite I could say is Still Standing, because
That's my joint.
we knew we had been out on the road for 2 years, and we got to see what people liked about us and the records that worked. But you know, like doing the first album, it's nothing like doing the first album, because it's funny to me because see, we never recorded the first album together.
Yeah.
You know, we recorded the first album in pieces because they was working on Outkast and our album at the same time. So, you know, we recorded, like Cujo would go and do records, and then I go do records, and then we didn't hit a record until it was done with all four of us on the records.
Right. That's deep.
You know what I mean? It was never a way to record in the dungeon. So it was us just listening to a beat for 2 weeks and just hoping that we get a chance to get in somewhere. You know what I mean? Yeah. So during that time, it was like, it was process. It was like a process. It was like Parental Advisory got signed with Pebbles, and then it was like we could go to the studio, but we couldn't really go in the studio. You know, me being with KP and Reese and Mello beforehand, I was able to go into the studio, but a lot of the, like Outkast and a lot of them, they couldn't really go in the studio at that time. So while we was doing Parental Advisory album, that was the first time people ever heard Gipp. Yeah. People don't really realize. They think I was first heard on Outkast record, but the first record I was ever heard on was a record called Dope Stories with me and Pimp C and Parental Advisory. So
that's what's up.
I was out in '93, before everybody.
Yeah.
So, like from that, then we went. I remember they was gonna put Outkast on the Parental Advisory remix, the first single. That was the first time Outkast really went in the studio. That was at Doppler. We knocked that out, and then that's when the Christmas album, the LaFace opportunity came, and we did Players Ball, and it took that 8 months to blow up. So it was all, we did it in the wintertime. It didn't blow up till like the next summer.
Damn. Tell them, man.
So it was a process, you know what I mean?
Motherfuckers be quitting in a week, man. It ain't working, man. DJ so-and-so wouldn't play my shit. Yeah. Nigga give up fast as a motherfucker.
Yeah, and during them times, it was just, everything was such, it was a blessing, because you got to look, man. I had been doing records early before Parental Advisory, before any of them. Me and Yoda, Ray Murray from OMP, right. We was in a group called 6 Cents. So I was already around here really doing stuff. And before 6 Cents, it was the East Point Chain Gang, and that was a group that was comprised of me and 5 other dudes. And in that group, Cool Breeze was in that group.
Cool Breeze.
I just had a talk with him. It's crazy because I was just driving. I was like, I'm gonna ask him when he get here, where is Cool Breeze, bro? He paved the way for T.I., boy.
He told me I paved the way for T.I.
He did, man.
Yeah, T.I., because he was the first Southern
with that
dope
swag.
boy with that arrogant swag.
Yeah, it was Cool Breeze.
like Cool Breeze.
That was my cat.
That's a special case, because Cool Breeze was already, that was Freddie Calhoun in East Point. You know what I mean? He was already really popular in middle school. He was like Rico. Like Rico used to drive to middle school at Paul D. West. He had his own car in middle school. You know what I mean? So Reek been touching money since we was 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
Breeze too, you know what I mean? So, when it came to rules and regulations and time, and you on a time clock, you know what I mean? Some people don't operate in time right now, you know what I mean? Some people just like, man, I get to it when I get to it. And, like with the whole situation with Breeze, I think, it's just it was how things were set up. It was like we had so much success with LaFace, but then when Organized Noise decided to do their label deal, they did their label deal in the West under Jimmy Iovine, and I think that our base was here in the South, and I think signing to a LA label, I think it really was it worked against us at the time for Cool Breeze and also for Witch Doctor.
So sometimes trying to reach for that, further and stuff like that, instead of just keeping with your fan base and what came, what you came in the game with. Sometimes it could work to your disadvantage, huh?
Well, it was about money. It was about Reek them feeling like, man, like we got Outkast over there, we got Goodie Mob over there. We doing songs for TLC. We also doing songs at the time for Sylvia Rome and everybody. Everybody was at Reek them at the time, and it was about the deal. Reek really walked away from $17 million. With everybody, with Breeze not turning in a second album or Wish Doctor, you know what I mean? He walked away from $17 million just because, at that time, everybody was going through their own little thing. Like, people don't understand that you don't know how life changed once fame is introduced to you. You know what I mean? Like, people say what they want to say, but you don't know how you gonna react to fame.
How you gonna handle it?
Having a big record, you know what I mean? Some people, anxiety is a motherfucker, man. You know what I mean? Like having to always be on point for people to see you, and you having to, always be right for people to see you. Sometimes life, the things it take to make records is not what it takes to sell records.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Bar.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, like
That was a bar.
you know, when you think about it, you know, when you think about the things that DMX might have to go to do to write the things that he write. You know, his process been the process before he made records.
Yeah.
So you gotta understand that whatever a person's process is, it might work against them when it's label time, when we giving you this money and we expect this out back in 3-4 months. And you know, one thing people don't understand that all writers get writer's block, man.
Yeah, most definitely.
Like where we just, I mean, don't shit click and shit, man. You gotta wait on it.
You gotta put that shit down.
You gotta wait on it. It's like I used to get frustrated with that shit so much because I want to do something so much, but it ain't there. And then when it does come back, you just gotta pay attention to that feeling and know to, you know, write that down that came across your mind, or if something been on your mind, you know, expand on it. You know, a lot of people don't. And you know, when you young, my nigga, when you young and you ain't got nothing to do but to wake up and figure out how you gonna get some money and write rhymes on goddamn old bottles and napkins all day. I mean, it's a fun process because you know you still grinding and you ain't in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
When I was going to school, when I was going to hair school on MLK and still going and hanging in Dixie Hill selling weed with Cujo selling crack. Shit, I still was feeling like we're gonna make it out this shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I gotta do what I gotta do to make it out.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, the difference between these kids and I think us is we understood we still had to have a job. We still had to figure out back then you was either going to a black college, Bethune-Cookman, Moore Brown, something, or you were going to trade school. You were not chilling at the crib, folks.
At all.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So back then I was like, shit, Bonner Brothers good. That what the goods that I'm gonna do hair.
I ain't mad at you.
So I said,
That's real shit.
You gotta understand how big the hat industry was in the South at that time. Like having a salon and all that kind of shit. That was big shit coming up when I was growing up. You had a salon, you would get money.
Yeah.
Legally.
You still getting money.
Yeah,
you get
they
a
still
salon
getting
money.
today in
So
Atlanta.
you know, with the Bonner Brothers and all that, that's when everybody was walking around with finger waves and cold whips, you know what I mean, wearing chiffon shirts, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So for me, I thought wearing finger waves and a lobster tail were player. Like I was like, shit, I'll player. That's how we do it.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, for me, going into the hat industry, I was only 15 hours out, and it was like one day, I was going to school, I was working in the warehouse, and I remember lunchtime. It was about 2:15 in the afternoon. I shot up the Old National, got me a goddamn 2-piece chicken, and I went back to the job, and Greg Street played Player Ball on the radio,
Oh man.
and I was like, shit, that's it. I quit.
So you took that 2-piece up out of there.
Hey man, so I got there, dropped in the old mobile and headed to the dungeon.
Yeah.
Hey.
But I never went back.
That's what's up.
This is real. Hey, so I want to ask you, y'all are the first artist that I personally have ever heard go on record talking about the New World Order.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all talked about a lot of like socially conscious stuff. Like, where was y'all getting that information from? And at that time, like that was like '95. Y'all was on that.
Well, what happened was Organized Noise was up in the studio with I think they was working. They was finishing up an Outkast record, and what happened was Busta Rhymes was in the other studio, and he was working on Rampage album. And I remember that day we couldn't go in the studio. I don't know what it was. We were just hanging in the parking lot. But I remember Big Rube got this book from Busta Rhymes. And he said, yo, man, I got this book from Busta Rhymes called Behold of the Pale Horse. And he brought it back to the dungeon. And I remember Big Rube went and sat in the little corner and he read it. And after he read it, he from the studio to from the dark to the dungeon. By the time we got to the dungeon, chilled out for a minute, he read the whole book.
Damn.
And he was like, yo, y'all need to read this shit. This shit real. You know what I mean?
That book about 300 pages, fam.
that motherfucker and small words.
That's bad. he gave that book to Cujo. That book went around the dungeon, man. And from that record, I remember Reek was like, "Yo, y'all come to Boss Town." Me and Cujo got a record. And when I walked in, it was when the scene unfold. Young Cujo had put the first verse down, and it was just the beat and the verse, Cujo verse. Then Cujo laid the hook. The rest was history. The last 2 songs we recorded for Soul Food was Cell Therapy and Dirty South.
What you nigga know
And
about
that led into my next question. I wanted to say, y'all coined the phrase "Dirty South." Y'all was the first. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't necessarily know where it came from, and that term, you know, it kind of was before its time because the Southern explosion happened a little bit later. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of like was before its time. Like, how did y'all come up with that? Like, who came up with it?
We gotta give that to Cool Breeze, man. That was the whole concept of that song was a day in the life of Cool Breeze. You know what I mean? And when I got there, I was like, damn, okay. With me growing up with him, that was always his thing. You know what I mean? Breeze was known for that street shit. He was known. He was known to be about it. So, you know, when he jumped in there and started talking about Red Oak and selling and selling lemon heads, like that was something they did back in the day. Some over there in Red Oak, they sell them junk as lemon heads. So for him to put his life down in the actual song form, it was just dope to me. And he was just like, "Yo, what you know about the Dirty South?" And he put it down. Reek called Big came, Big knocked his out, and I was the last to hear. And I just did it like I did it a day in the life of Gipp, man, back then. That was straight up what I was about. I was about being in them streets and about being in the projects and doing what I did.
I feel that.
It was Atlanta shit.
Yeah. Question, bro. Like when it came to the Dungeon family, bro, like all y'all was so left field creatively, bro. Like how did that even, like, where was y'all getting that from, dog?
That's Yoda, man. Yoda is the nucleus of us. Like, I met Yoda when I was 16, 17. Yoda wrote my first rap. Taught me how to rap. You know what I mean? He taught me about, you know, when I first met Yoda, like, he moved from the West End. And he used to be over there in the Hard Boys. He from Catherwood. Over there, Sylvan Road, that's where he from. So when he moved to East Point, he was the first one to show me like the little hip hop men, you know, with the Pumas on, with the fat laces. Like he used to draw all that shit. He was one of the original 5 Kings. So if y'all go in the West End and y'all see old graffiti that used to say 5 Kings, he one of the original graffiti writers from Atlanta.
Okay.
So from him, I learned about the last poets. He brought me in this, and I studied it from the black side. I studied it from the Black Panther side. I studied all the artists, and then we went off into the funk. Like he the one that first showed me my first drum machine.
Yeah.
Like the first drum machines came with just four pads where you could hit it like it was for drummers. That was the first drum machine, and I watched him from that all the way up to an MPC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what's up.
So
Right.
So back then, like, you know what I'm saying, 95 and even in 98, you know what I'm saying, like it was other places that was really, really like dominating hip hop other than the East Coast, but all the publications was on the East Coast, like The Source and all of them. Do you feel like, well, first of all, were you like, how did you feel about like never getting that 5 mic rating? Because back then that shit used to mean everything. You know what I'm saying? But deserving it and not getting it. Did that bother y'all, or did y'all just not care?
It bothered us, but I mean, at that time, we knew the Outkast had that. You know what I mean? It was like we was a two-headed monster. It was like Outkast was hitting them with pop records and this, that, and the other, and we was hitting them with that Southern shit. We was really showing them what the Southern experience and what the Southern culture was about. Outkast talked about it from the player standpoint, and we talked about it from the gospel standpoint, you know.
I love that.
I think I just thought New York was biased at the time.
Yes,
You know what
sir.
I mean? I just thought New York was real biased because I felt like if it was about selling records, it was about being the best and shit. We were the best. At that time, it was like we smoked every group that came from New York, Philadelphia, California, anybody, and didn't nobody want to come on the stage after us. Only people that could even stand a chance against us with a live show was the Fugees, and that's because they had that girl.
Yeah.
That girl was special.
It's hard to compete with a dope chick. It's hard to compete with a dope
that
chick.
girl was special, man. When she was young and full of fire, oh man, she was special. She was special to watch. On that first tour, Goodie Mob and Roots and the Fugees, to watch her turn into who she became. But to see her at her rawest, oh, she was awesome. She was one of the best I ever seen do it.
Yeah, it seemed like that one Source Awards where the legendary The South Got Something to Say.
Yeah.
It seemed like that's what like really started catapulting the South. You start seeing
I was
more.
pissed off that night. They really shitted on the South that night, man. Because first of all, they shitted on Van. Tootsie Roll was the biggest record out. Wasn't nothing bigger than Tootsie Roll.
Tootsie Roll was fire.
They acted like they didn't see that record. You know what I mean? That record was the biggest record out. To me, who was supposed to get Lyricist of the Year that year was not Biggie. It was supposed to be Big Mike.
Big Mike was cold, bro. Big Mike was cold. I ain't gonna lie.
I feel you, and I think that if you would put lyricists as song against song, Big Mike was just as good as Biggie record at that time. You know, how they treated Death Row that night, it wasn't right. How they treated Wu-Tang that night, it wasn't right. They treated Wu-Tang like they wasn't even from New York. They didn't consider Staten Island as being a part of New York at that time.
Yeah.
So that night I remember looking back and seeing the Wu in the back corner. They were like 100 deep, and Method Man standing up like, y'all gonna hear us tonight. Y'all gonna see us tonight. We in this bitch. So it was kind of like, the biggest thing about that night is,
Man.
people don't understand that was the first time that we all saw each other in the flesh.
Everybody.
Everybody that you seen on BET, all the monsters, all the killers, all the dope boys. Nigga. That was the first time everybody was in the same room together and could sniff each other, and it was all dog food, man. Everybody was at their rawest then. The Wu was so cold then, man. Them niggas was scary. They was the only thing that kind of like made us be like, boy, that's the New York us. Wu-Tang, boy, they serious, boy. Raekwon, them, they got a certain swag. You just know they gonna do it. You know?
Razor blades under their tongue and everything.
And I gotta give it to Big that night. Big that night. That was the first night I seen Big break out in the linen. He hit him with the linen and the goddamn Timbo boots and killed them, man. that was an iconic look for him that night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, and I ain't gonna take nothing away from Big. Them, they was in their city, man. That shit was big. Brooklyn was big. What he was doing for that time was big. But shit, man, didn't know. But to see Death Row. To see Death Row come out of all them cages like that, to see Corrupt for the first time, to see DJ Quick up close, to see MC8, you know what I mean, to see Snoop, you know what I mean, to see Rage, that shit was awesome. And then to fucking see Suge Knight, he was menacing to be, in the flesh then, he was menacing, like, it was like shit. Like, where they make niggas that big? A whole bunch of them, you know what I mean? So for me, that night really, it let us know that we up against more than being just the best. We gotta be goddamn iconic with this shit. We gotta pull out everything. We gotta get back to the crib. We gotta pull out all the motherfucking musicians in Atlanta. We gotta pull out all the motherfucking all the ideas and everything, we got to keep it in the gumbo so that we always. If you look at those first albums from Outkast and Goodie Mob, we all worked on them albums. We all worked on them albums. Some of them ideas wasn't even there. They was shit. Them ideas were put down, and hey man, they came in there and they got in and they solidified them ideas.
Yeah.
But,
Yes, sir.
you know, shit like Who the Who, that was Gippy. You know what I mean? Certain shit was my shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Certain shit was Cujo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you look at it, man, them first two albums, shit, Big Boy was the nigga. Big Boy was the nigga on the first two albums. Drake kicked into about the third, going into the third album. Then 3000 started saying, hold up, nigga, hold up, I'm here too now. But if you go back to them first albums, that was Big on the hooks. They came back that second album, Me and You. Well, mama, that was big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dre didn't kick into the third album. It really started like, shit, let me get these hooks. I got you.
I feel like Big Boy don't get the credit he deserves.
He don't get the credit he deserves because Big Boy, to me, Big Boy is the Southern Ice Cube. Big Boy will always represent Savannah, Georgia, and the D-Boy that he is. He always been a hustler. You know what I mean? You looking at them dogs, man. I remember you looking at his dog business right now. I'm sure it makes over $500,000, probably close to $1 million a year. But I remember when his uncle went and got that dog out of Pittsburgh, out of 4 Seasons. That dog was an old raggedy dog. He started his whole company off a hoe dog. that dog had teeth hanging on the ground, boy. He
made that shit work though.
He crunk it up with shoulders, man. It ain't look back. I mean, you know, so the ambition that he always had, that he always showed me, like he had from the beginning. Like Big didn't never want to go back to Savannah, so he knew I had to be the best. Shit, Dre didn't go back to school. Once Dre figured out, shit, the dungeon, this us, this what we could do all day. Fuck school. Big had to go to school, so Big made sure he went to school in 3000, went back to school after the first album went platinum. Went to night school. So, I mean, like, in all of that, y'all gotta understand it, man. We was having to deal with being on TV at that time. Goodie Mob was used as such a vehicle and such a tool for BET, man. It was like we was on BET goddamn every month. We was on BET talking and shit, you know what I mean? So, you know, from what we learned out of that book, it really gave us a clear our own street to go down besides what Outkast was doing, you know what I mean? So I think that book, Behold of the Pale Horse, it really gave Goodie Mob its direction. That's when, after we read that book, that's when Goodie Mob became the good, die mostly over bullshit. That's when Rule went and he drew the G and then the man and then all that. And then our words started becoming into picture. You know what I mean? When Rule drew that for the group. So for me, I was just like, wow, like watching your words come to life, man, it's nothing like that. And it's like, it's nothing like the first time we left and I went on tour with Outkast, and I remember that's when we dropped the second single, and we went to Dallas, Texas, and we sold out the Dallas the stadium, and it was the first time I realized, like, damn, dog, we really famous. Like, they nigga really famous, nigga chasing the car. You know what I mean? So it's like that kind of shit. When you want, you know, after you see that kind of shit, you start really realizing that you in another place. But another thing that you battle with being an artist is when you want to turn it off. You know what I mean?
Can't turn it off.
Can't turn that shit off, man. And you don't learn that until you go into a dark space. You know what I mean? And the dark space is just either the same things you did to make songs don't work no more, or the same situations and the same platform that you had is not there for you no more. So you have to figure out how to get back to your fans at the same time survive as an artist.
Yeah.
You know?
So I want to go back to what you said about the book. What other books do you have any other books that you might want to put the people up on while they're watching?
Well, me personally, see, I was always in the Nation. I was always was always a studier of knowledge because I was under Yoda as a student. So, you know, I was introduced to knowledge through Yoda, who first introduced me to, you know, the 5%ers, Gods and Earths, all that kind of stuff. And Yoda listened to the Jungle Brothers. But for me personally, going into the Nation of Islam, it kind of shaped me. You know what I mean? I went in the Nation of Islam under Comrade Muhammad. So with me, I was in the Nation during them years where it was a lot of stuff going on. I learned a lot of stuff. Malcolm X books. I read a lot of stuff that I think that I learned from, but most of my stuff come from my father, man. You know what I mean? Having him always in my life, I ain't never really had to worry about going to dudes in the street. I never really had to worry about really kind of depending on another man teaching me right and wrong. I just think that me being raised right, it helped me. It helped me in a lot of situations, man, because I know that I did about everything everybody did. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I was smart enough to walk away when I knew, you know, I was smart enough to walk away. Yeah. You know, you can get addicted to anything. It's an old saying, man, a man get too much power, he get drunk. You know what I mean? And you gotta realize that, man, the things that you do, you gotta pay tithes for it, man. So good or bad, I always knew that shit, some things for me and some things ain't. You know, once I went to jail a few times, I understood jail wasn't for me. It wasn't no goods in there. Wasn't
no goddamn goods. Hey man, hey CO, where the girls at, man?
Ain't gotta go back
where there. You got me? Y'all always sign up for this shit.
Sent me down the right street 2-3 times. Said, "Hey man, look here, man. First of all, it's too cold. The food ain't good, and hey man, this ain't for me." So you know, when I see folks that go to jail about the same shit, I be like, "Bro, you ain't good at that shit.
You ain't good at it."
Because I know niggas have been selling dope all my life, and they ain't never been in jail.
Nigga, you ain't good at that shit.
They ain't never.
You gotta have talent at everything, man.
Yeah,
you
ain't
good at that. Some of you niggas need to go to a drug dealing trade school or something. Because that's horrible, cuz you ain't never lied.
And with the internet, man, y'all awesome, folk. Y'all young boy, this new generation, boy. If anybody ever flirt with them police, man, these young folk fuck with them, man. Y'all fuck with them, man. Y'all put the pistols on there. Y'all put the dope on there. You lean on
y'all
them,
make folk. The sale on that motherfucker, everything.
Y'all show them folk, man. We don't give a flying, man.
That's always been my thing. I'm like, damn, what happened to the code, bro? Like, you don't never let you know what the, you know what I'm saying? The right hand don't know what the left hand doing.
What happened to the code? Man.
It wasn't written.
It wasn't written.
It wasn't supposed to be written.
I know. That shit ain't passed on. That shit get dusted away like a motherfucker. Fast as shit.
We stopped telling the truth in the music.
Tell them, man.
We stopped telling the truth in the music, man. Like, you gotta understand that at the end of the day, for me, the ones that told the street story from both sides, the way it needed to always be told, was UGK.
Yeah.
They always told both sides. Bun always gave you the real, the educated side, and Pimp always gave you the other side.
Made it fly for
And
you.
I think that once we got into the new generations of D-boys and how they wanted to do it, they didn't really tell the bad side of it. I think that stopped being told in the music. I think we were just talking about how much money we would
flash the cash
and what we were buying with the money. And I think that, you know, one thing Pimp always did, if you go back and listen to stuff like 316s and some of them UGK records, one day you hear one, the next day you gone, they always gave you the other side of it. Like, yeah, it's good today, but tomorrow, man, it could be a nightmare. And I think once we stopped doing that and everybody started concentrating on wanting to give the good side of it, I think we lost the golden rule, and that's tell the truth.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean,
that
we
makes
ain't tell the truth no more. You know what I mean? Jeezy got away with it. T.I. got away with it. Gucci got away with it. But I want you to put them three artists down on a piece of paper and look at the things they had to go through to maintain the things that they do.
Yeah.
Look at what they've been through.
Exactly.
Each one of them. You know what I mean? Look at the tragedy and look at the good and look at the bad and look at the time they had to sit down.
Yeah.
So it's the message that you put out here. You know what I mean? Pac was fine until Pac started fucking with that street shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Once you put yourself in the street shit, one thing I learned about music is what you put out there you could be respected for. A gangster can respect you for being who you is. Just don't try and be him.
Yeah.
Cause if you try and be him, that mean you put yourself in his crosshair. That mean the shit. Once you think you a gangster, that mean that puts you on the street. Or I can get you, folk, cause you think you a gangster.
Yeah, I was writing raps, man, in like 14, right? And I rapped some shit to my pops. He was a street nigga, and I was rapping some gangster shit. He's like, hey man, rap about something else, cause them niggas gonna come see you. You know what I'm saying? Man. He's like, nigga, cause he's like, I know you. That ain't you. You know what I'm saying? And that day, bro, I scrapped that joint. Got the rapping about that positivity, bro. Pops was a stone cold street nigga, bro. I'm like, yeah, I ain't finna. I can't front.
I could tell you this too, man. Like,
rapping about girls.
Yeah, that's it, girls.
That's what changed 3. That's what changed 3,000. That's what changed. A lot of stuff happened, man. We ain't never really talked about, man. You know what I mean? I'm from the years where it wasn't no cameras, man. It was niggas was on go when I was coming. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't like now, niggas sit around for somebody to do something. Niggas looking around and see who got cameras out and all that. Back then, man, niggas get on your ass. You don't even know what happened. You know what I mean? So a lot of things happened during the first and second album, man, that changed. People were like, yo, why Dre like this, or why he don't really dress like that no more, because a lot of shit that happened. You know what I mean? Houses got broken in, people tried to kidnap. It was all kind of shit going on. Shoes, you know what I mean? It wasn't no social media back then, so then people only knew about it in the street. But if you think about it, you ain't never heard of nobody putting their hands on Dungeon Family. You ain't never heard of it. You ain't never heard it because when we came out, we were the actual street niggas of Atlanta. You gotta look at, when we came out, it was Dallas Austin and Dark, and it was Jermaine Dupri. We were the first niggas had seen that was grown. We was street niggas. We was from Atlanta. You know what I mean? Really from Atlanta. If you look at the kids, like Crisscross, they were kids. That was Jermaine creation. You know what I mean? The girls, Escape, that was Jermaine creation. You know what I mean? Like Dallas with ABC, with Boys to Men, with Monica, that was Dallas creation. TLC, Dallas creation. Usher, LA, Dallas, Jermaine creation. We were the first ones that we wasn't no creation.
Yeah.
Big when Yoda and Sleepy and Reek put us in the studio, they didn't know what the fuck we were gonna say. They was like, shit, that's why you heard back then 23 bars, like 30, but Cujo would go in there and rap 35 bars. And we'd be like, bro, it was a song a few minutes ago. Okay, and then during that time, it was like, okay, who gonna tell Joe to cut his verse?
And he was so unorthodox too. Like that nigga flow was all over the place, but he was dropping some real jewels in his shit.
To me, Cujo was our Jizza.
I could see that.
He was Jizza. He was Liquid Swords. You had to be from Atlanta to understand some of the shit he was saying. Also with Jizza, you think about them first Wu-Tang records. If you didn't understand some of this shit, you were like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it go over your head, boy. It go over your head real quick.
So that's what I mean. Like, if you think about it, we wasn't produced. That's the most special part about those first and second albums, man. It was nothing. Reek them didn't never try to produce us. They would be like, okay, that's what they got. Okay, let's figure it out. Okay, that's what they got. Okay, let's figure it out. We didn't start being produced until like the third album. Till you seen shit like get rich to this and stuff like that. Like that's when we first. That's when it was like a conscious effort to say, "Yo, let's do these type of records." Before then, it was like, "Shit, man, y'all go in there and let it rip, man. Whatever y'all come up with, that's what we gonna do." You know, so that's when making records to me was fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's when it was fun because it was like LA would be like, "Y'all ready to make the record? Yeah, okay, here go the money. Y'all go do what y'all do. I'll holler at y'all in 8 months."
Yeah.
That's when it was fun. That's when it was no A&Rs in there talking about what's hot and what ain't hot, what you should rap on, and I got a producer on the side when you do a beat, when you do a song. It wasn't none of all that jug and shit that goes on in the game these days. It's like, man, it's so much jug, and it's like by the time you get to the goddamn to the go button, shit, it's 25 people on the publish.
Yeah.
It's like,
Crazy.
It's crazy.
It ain't no song.
It's crazy to hear you say that, man, because one of my big homies, Luke Mine, shout out to Luke Mine, he always said, when we was rapping, we was 19, 20, he said, do it as much as you can while it's fun, because once it becomes a business, it's not going to be fun and you ain't going to want to do it.
It's you know what it is? It's the politics. It's the politics behind it, man. Let me tell y'all something, man. Y'all don't see the politics going on in music right now.
Talk about it.
Let me show you. Meek Mill just dropped a record, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did anybody from his record label, anybody go get Meek Mill out of jail? Or did his city get him out of jail? Okay.
Well, they say Jay-Z had something to do with
I
it.
ain't had nothing to do. He wasn't there.
He just took credit.
He wasn't on the helicopter. Who was he on the helicopter with? Who was he on the helicopter with?
And
What you got to say, H?
The team. Yeah.
Okay.
City.
Okay.
Just listen to me now. Okay. That's Meek Mill, right? He just put a record out. Does it feel like the industry behind it?
It don't.
It don't, for real though.
Okay. Start right there. Rick Ross, one of the biggest, dopest writers from the South, wrote a lot of records for a lot of people, kept a lot of people careers, rejuvenated Puff, rejuvenated Jay. Reason why they don't play his records, nobody from the industry cut in on Wingstop. Hadn't heard his records since then, since he did that deal, right?
Wow.
It's called politics.
On radio. You ain't never lied.
Called politics. Anything that's in the game that's working right now, the motherfuckers cut in. They only letting it work unless they cut in. This whole thing was made up between possibly, I can give you some names, Leo Cohen, possibly Craig Hound, possibly Julia Greenwald, the heads of Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
Once they understood that they were not gonna blow up these acts no more and not have them in a 360 deal, if you in this business right now and you not in the 360 deal, I don't care who you is, your records ain't gonna play.
Wow.
Jay-Z in the 360 deal too. It just look like it's more money, but somebody here boss too. Nobody, just Jay-Z couldn't be Jay-Z if it wasn't for Leo Cohen.
Coach.
Leo Cohen took Jay-Z from that.
Stupid.
Okay? All right? Could nobody just walk Jay into these buildings and he would be this unless it was not somebody standing behind him saying, do this,
Now.
validate this. Come on, my nigga. Soon as 50 signed the vitamin water deal, his record stopped being played on the radio. Interscope wasn't cut in. Okay? Dr. Dre wouldn't have beats if it wasn't for Jimmy Iovine being cut in. So understand right now, when you look at the game, whatever they say about the South, if it wasn't for the South right now, the whole game would have failed 10 years ago. Because they made New York, everybody in New York cashed out. Everybody in New York cashed out. From Kevin Liles, from come on, I can name the name. Everybody who was at these big labels, they cashed out and went to branding companies. 300 was created. Okay, they took a kid from Atlanta, Young Thug, Kid was always a thug kid straight off Cleveland Avenue. And they put this man in a dress. Thought this was cool. What you were trying to do was destroy the Atlanta culture. You were trying to make Atlanta gay because you couldn't control Atlanta. So you can't control Atlanta because as long as we got more strip clubs than any city, these kids can take their music, go in the strip club and get natural reaction. That means that they know what their music can do. They don't need no A&R, no motherfucker from somebody else telling them what the fuck hot and what ain't hot. When New York was the shit, New York controlled the ball. Why Atlanta don't control the ball in the music business? Soon as it was too many Southern millionaires in this year, and they come up with the 360 deal. Oh, we can't control them niggas down there. There's too many of them. They keep dropping hits everywhere. The 5, 6 of them niggas producing, 7, 8 of them niggas goddamn. God damn. We can't control them niggas down there. What do? We 360 the game. They don't get on the radio unless they come through us. Anything they do on the side, we get a piece. It's new age slavery. Now, let's look at it like this. Migos, Coach, P, 2 biggest execs in the game right now. Why they ain't getting the credit like they would have got if they was from New York? Why they ain't getting the credit? They tried to up in New York on 300, they tried to kill the Migos. They tried to put Fetty Wap everything in front of him. They tried to kill the Migos. Tried to kill their career. If it wasn't for them being that they from here and was still having Atlanta as a base, they could have killed them by them not doing what the fuck they wanted them to do. You gotta understand it's a game right now, man. It's a game of the old trying to stay in control. Until they clean out New York and clean out all these record labels, all the old, and put these dudes in the positions that's controlling the streets right now, then we losing.
Yeah.
We losing. All they doing is controlling us. And you see, I sat down and had a conversation the other day. I said, man, these kids making more money than we ever seen. On one record. Come in, a dude like Lil Pump. Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang. Got that. $8-10 million deal.
Killing niggas.
You got the cash, man. But think about this. You'll never sell the records to get out of debt. The whole game is controlled by robots. They out there in LA, got whole buildings full of them. The people don't control the traffic. Computers do. Computers do. People used to control what's hot and what's not.
Yeah.
Now computers do. So mostly everybody in the game right now is bullshit, false. Ain't real. Ain't real. Ain't no legs up on it. Straight goddamn air. Air pack.
You see it?
Say air pack.
You see
You know what I mean?
That's deep. That's real shit
Now,
though.
let's look at this part.
Shit,
Why is everybody that go to jail, come out on one label? Started with T.I. T.I. Atlantic. Shawty get in trouble, Shawty go back to jail. Gucci go to jail, Atlantic show up, get Gucci out of jail. Gucci go back to jail. Kevin Gates get on Atlantic, boom, he catch a case, he go to jail. Kodak Black get on Atlantic, boom, he catch a case, he go back to jail.
Damn.
Saga.
Shit, the owner's on prison.
Saga. Same label, huh? Meek Mills, he on Atlantic.
What's
Boom, he
called
get a case,
Atlantic?
he go to jail.
Smarter than my nigga was on Atlanta too, wasn't it? Yeah.
Damn.
Shit get real in real life.
Come on, man.
Hey, man.
It's a game.
It's some Wizard of Oz
Business.
shit, man.
Business.
I done look behind the curtain on this nigga, man. Come on.
He say he done
That's
peeled
what-
the joint back on the
it
Broadway
make it kind
show.
of hard to do the podcast, especially when we get somebody real like this. Like, they be pulling the wool.
Cause you gotta look at this, man. Check this out, man. We got a whole system that was changed right before our eyes of how we motherfucking sell records and buy records and how
Crazy.
records are sold, right? We just woke up one morning and the motherfucker told us streaming, that's what's going down. But not one motherfucker. We still got people like Quincy living. We still got people like Smokey Robinson. If you gonna change the game, get the motherfuckers on the board that's done it before. to help change the game, where the artist got some kind of weight in the decision. Well, who made the rules for how we get paid on streaming? Executives that don't look like us.
Feel me? They scraping in all the bread.
Okay? So, I ain't never, if y'all look at a dude like me, man, like, I ain't never, the reason why Goodie Mob couldn't be what Goodie Mob always wanted to be, because we knew from day one, man, we were going to be blackballed. We knew it. That's why I was always friends. Let me tell you something about my life, man. I was first year out of high school. I was working at the Red Lobster on Camden Road. And I used to be, me and Yoda used to be back there working in the kitchen and shit. And we used to be back there rapping and shit. Everything come on the radio. Well, it was a dude back there washing dishes, right? The dude say, y'all like to rap? We say, yeah. He say, my brother in Public Enemy. I said, huh? He said, my brother in Public Enemy. I'm from New York. My name Mike. I said, wow. I said, man, Public Enemy one of my favorite groups, man. That's where I learned all my shit from. I learned about Farrakhan, Public Enemy. I ain't never know about Farrakhan until I heard it from Public Enemy. I heard Chuck say it. He said, man, Gipp, Public Enemy coming to town this weekend, man, gonna be at the Omni. He said, I want you to come down, I want you to meet my brother. I ain't gonna tell you who my brother is, I'm just gonna tell you, you just gonna meet him. We went down to the Omni. I remember I was excited because it was that night was performed with goddamn Public Enemy, LL Cool J. That's when he had the box on stage, man. It was so goddamn awesome. He had the big goddamn box on stage, man. On one side, goddamn Bobcat will swing out, on the other side, the other nigga swing out. Goddamn Rakim was on that tour. That's when he was doing the pyramid shit, and he was sitting on that chair, and he was spinning around, and when it spin around, he'd be in it. It was so goddamn great. And I was standing in the back. He said, Chuck on the way. And a cab pulled out. Chuck D got out the car. I said, damn, that's goddamn Chuck. And he said, so when Chuck get out the car, the other folk in Public Enemy come to the door to let him in. He said, Gipp, this my brother. His brother was Professor Griff.
Damn, that's deep.
And that was before I even got in the game, man. So having those kind of things happen to me before I even got in the game, I already knew what path I was gonna go down, because I already knew the dudes that I consider my heroes. My favorite rappers coming up were Chuck D and Ice-T. Ice-T gave you knowledge too. Ice-T gave you some gangster shit too from a West Coast standpoint. And he was a player, and that's the type of shit I was into, you know. Long hair and fingernails and shit, you know. So, you know, I love folks like Ice-T and Chuck, and that's when I learned about Chuck. That's when I first learned that Chuck stayed in Atlanta. Chuck been staying in Atlanta since the early 90s. Wow. Chuck stay on the south side, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna tell y'all one thing about me, man. See, my first tour after the Outkast came out, Goodie Mob's first tour was Goodie Mob, Mike Geronimo, Irv Gotti, and Ja Rule, which was a crew called Cash Money Clique. That was our first tour. We went through the South. Our second tour was fucking The Roots, The Fugees, and Goodie Mob. Our third tour was us, De La Soul, and Fishbone. So if you look at it, we was all in the chitlin circuit of the South then. We damn near created the highway of the chicken circuit of what was hot. We created going to Augusta. We created going to Macon. We created going, and guess who took us to all these places? The first lady to take us on the road, and we was in the like we going on the radio tour in Georgia. You know who was our first person to look out for us and take us on the radio tour? was Waka Flocka mama, Miss Dale.
I was gonna say that, bruh.
Right.
That's the first person ever took Goodie Mob on a radio tour.
Yeah, there you go.
So you gotta understand. See, with Gippy, I'm able to sit in the rooms with the Snoops, the Puffs. First time we ever showed up in New York, Puff picked us up. You know what I mean? Back in them days in New York, you couldn't even get no weed. So the first person we ever bought weed for in New York was a man called Branson. If you from New York, you know who Branson is. You got to be old school New York to know. But dude, Branson was the first dude that we ever did it with. Biggie came to our first show in New York. He was always a lover of CeeLo. He loved CeeLo, man. He wanted CeeLo on the first album, second album. He always loved CeeLo. But like, with me personally, man, being that the things that we were saying at that time, the first time I talked about it the other day, you know, cause Fat Joe was doing he was interviewing T.I. and he asked him, he said, Tip, he said, who were some of the first rappers you seen out in the street? And he said, me and Cujo. Well, I'm gonna tell y'all this, the first time first time we ever did like a private function in New York, and it was like the first album. It was for a lady called Grandmama Funk. That night, Biggie, it was us, Biggie Smalls, and Fat Joe. That was the first time I ever met Puerto Ricans in my life. First time I ever seen a Puerto Rican before, man. Fat Joe and his brother. First night also the first night I met Pun. So for me personally, like, everybody that was, I'm gonna tell y'all, it's been so crazy for me because everything that happened to me in the music business has always been like a story. It's like we seen Pun last performance in the Bronx at this place called Jimmy's that everybody used to go to in the Bronx. And I remember that night looking at Pun rap, and I remember he kept sitting down every time he rap, he kept sitting down. And I remember I told Cujo, I said, man, he ain't gonna be here that long if he don't take that weight off him. And I remember him dying not too long after that.
Damn.
Also, it's like the thing of me and Soulja Slim, man, like me and Soulja Slim, like Soulja Slim was one of the most New Orleans, he was one of the most gangster New Orleans gang cats you would have ever met, my nigga. He was a straight gunner, man. He was a straight shooter, man. But I remember one night, man, I was in New York, because I used to hang in New York a lot of time. My homeboy named Coltrane up there, if y'all ever heard of Coltrane, he used to be like the head fashion guy over at Mark Echo. So I'm up in New York with Coltrane, and I get a call from Slim, and he say, man, I'm in New York, Water. He said, let's go out. So we go out that night, and I remember we went out that night, and we went to the club. We got the bucking on Funk Master Flex, cause he wouldn't play no South music. We was up in that bitch like, nigga, we go around this bitch, my nigga, like, nigga, the fuck, like we was snapping up in that hole. We like, Funk Master, we over here like this. Nigga shouted, he with No Limit. Nigga, I'm with LaFace, like, nigga, you gotta respect this game. He ain't play none of our records, so we was just tripping. We just in the club mean mugging. And I mean, my homeboy was with me, and he said, Gipp, take a picture with Slim. And I took a picture with Slim, and he went back home. He got murdered on his mama's front porch, man.
Shit crazy.
And it's like, everybody know how me and Pimp been together since they first album. Like, shit, one day we was at the dungeon and goddamn a Cadillac pulled up. And we like, shit, who outside? And we looked outside, nigga look at it, nigga say UGK outside, nigga. We in Lakewood at the dungeon. Pimpin' pulled up, man, his mama driving, Pimp in the front seat, Bun in the back.
That's
nigga, that's the movie walking.
Mama,
that when Pimp Mama jumped out, that was Miss West, man. She was the most gangster lady you ever met, man. She wore Dickies every day. and wore boxers. His mama was gangster.
Yeah.
So like Miss West jumped out. That's when we first met. We first met Bun them. That was when they brought their single up here to Greg Street. They first single that they played on the radio, which was, you know, one day you here, next day you gone. And from then, man, we were together, man. Me and Pimp been through everything, man. Bun stayed here first, then Pimp moved here. You know what I mean? I could tell y'all so many stories of Pimp just always. I'm gonna tell y'all this story, man. We went to New York one time. Pimp was like, man, them motherfuckers up there jive bullshit me, man. We gotta go to New York, Gipp. We go to New York and we go in to see Jive. We go in to see Barry Wise and all of them. You know, we sitting down and, you know, they were playing Pimp them, man. Like, that's what people don't understand, being at them times and walking in them offices and having the motherfucker try and tell you what your music is. They don't know you.
At all.
And they trying to tell you what's hot and what's not. And you sitting up there like, man, look at here, Pimp. I don't give a fuck what you talking about. Cause at that time, I ain't gonna tell you no lie. It was hard for anybody in the South to be on the radio. I really do feel like even Outkast and us, I really do think y'all broke New York.
It was around that time.
Nelly, St. Lunatics, yes sir. They broke. That was the first time. Nelly was the first time I got out the airplane. I said, he from St. Louis, and he on the radio. The next big record was Back That Thing Up, Juvenile.
Yeah.
That shit took off in New York, man. Them were the two biggest records. It was Mo record and Juvenile record.
Yeah.
And that was when
Mystical.
motherfuckers, that's when we was in Atlanta like, shit, okay, we can get on the radio in New York. Like, man, we gonna be able to get in. First person to break it on our side, Outkast. They broke it. Then Ludacris came in and killed New York radio. That's when New York radio opened up, and it was just a new world. And just for me going to New York at the time, and just and see, for people like me, like I was always friends with the Wu. If you go back and you look at different records, like when RZA, when he did his first solo album, Gipp was on there. Me and Old Dirty did a record with RZA, and you know, so like I was always, those are the people that I was drawn to in New York, like RZA them, like they story. I was always cool with Black Rob, always cool with, you know what I mean, always cool with the gangsters, man, you know what I mean. I ain't see Mace not too tough then. We used to see Puffy all the time, cause Puff fuck with Atlanta and Puff fuck with us, so yeah, we been fucking with Puff, you know what I mean. So with that, that's what people don't understand, that like before he really left DC and was still doing his parties in DC, the main event was Outkast and Biggie. Outkast was doing their first single, and Biggie was doing that song Party and Bullshit. And that was also the first time I seen a nigga charge $100 at the door. I thought that shit was awesome.
Hey,
$100 to get in the party.
And they coming too.
In the 90s. And it was around the corner, man. Puff started that shit.
Hey man, I hate to break this up because I know we can go all night.
We gotta do a part two, man.
We definitely gotta do a part two.
Back,
if you're gracious
I'm gonna
with
let
your
y'all
presence,
know.
brother.
I'm gonna let y'all know. All right, just the biggest thing for me this week. I'm on the front cover of the 420 magazine in LA. That's the biggest cannabis magazine in the cannabis business. That's just like being in the Rolling Stone. I'm on the front page. My cannabis line, Gipp Goodies.
Yes.
I'm gonna be in damn near every state in the United States that you can sell cannabis in. I'm gonna be in the whole country of Canada. I'm gonna be in 5 countries overseas. I'm trying to tell all the young brothers, man, this is the new gold rush, baby.
Yes.
We're talking about wealth. This is the new wealth. This is just like when the .com hit. Learn something about cannabis, whether it be medical, whether it be growing, cultivation, something. Learn how to get in this business, man. Because right now, sooner or later, once it open up to the South, this is the big boom. This is the next big boom for the industry. Like, you gotta look. California by itself, just in the month of January, the beginning of the year, made $26 million. And it'll be billion. it'll be 25 billion up for grabs from now, 2018 to 2025. 25 billion will be up for grabs. So y'all talking about rap, man? I ain't stunned about no rap. You know what I mean? I'm the first black man from the South with his own company. I own it 100%. I got waxes, I got pre-rolls, I got flour, I got the cartridges, all that shit, the pens. We got all that shit. But at the end of the day, it's also about the branding company, 3 C's. We branding the people. We got Duval, Moneybags. We branding. So it's just more than just being in the business of selling weed. We want to make sure that we owners. So and another thing is, I'm looking to get jobs, man. Mm-hmm. We in the next month or two, I'm gonna be able to write marijuana cards for those that go and see the doctor. You'll be able to, the same process they went about it in California, the same process they're gonna do it in Atlanta and in the South. And I'm just telling y'all, man, South Carolina's opening up, Orlando's opening up, and you're gonna get another Goodie Mob album, yeah. You might get another Outkast album. We might have to tour one more time at the Dungeon Family, because I still think I don't give a fuck who you put us up against. You put Outkast and Goodie Mob on the stage, we can go against any crew you want to pull out and put us on stage, and we gonna kick their
Talk
ass.
your shit.
You know what I mean? Cause when it comes to putting them outfits on and really putting the show on, I don't think we've been deep. You know what I mean? So with that, we gonna keep doing the music, and I got my other group, ATLA. That's me and Daz. We got that going on. And shit, man, I ain't going nowhere. I'm just chilling, and I'm gonna keep living my life. I hope y'all live, and I'm on the way back to LA in the morning, man. I see y'all when I see y'all.
That's what's up.
Appreciate you,
bro.
We thank
you for coming out. Yo, that's gonna wrap us up for the day. I go by the name of Big Will.
Your boy Keith Jones, Mr. Did You Know?
Yeah, Emily, Murph, everybody everywhere, man. We in this thing.
All right, we
Gipp
out.
it.